Have you ever been in a situation where you ended up defying all sorts of expectations so much that people started taking you for the real deal, only for you to end up disappointing them for the rest of their lives? It does happen a lot, and you wouldn't believe me if I said it, but football players are the best examples of this phenomenon. Time and time again, we've seen a player enjoy a great season, only to wither away and eventually drown into obscurity. So today, we're going to talk about a few players who did wonders in one season before returning to their below-average selves for the remainder of their playing careers. Clint Dempsey. Americans love their players from the early 2000s. From Landon Donovan to Brad Friedel, the USMNT produced some really great players at the turn of the 21st century. One of those players was Clint Dempsey, who joined Fulham in 2007. Before and after joining the Cottagers, he was an average player. However, during the 2011-2012 campaign, the American forward was on a different level, scoring 17 goals and providing 7 assists. Sadly, we never saw similar performances from him again. Sandro Ramirez. A graduate of the fabled La Masia Academy, Ramirez decided to leave Barcelona for Malaga in 2016. The decision seemed to have paid off since his young striker ended up scoring 14 goals and providing 5 assists in his first La Liga season. Everton were impressed and duly paid £5.2 million for his signature. End result? The striker found the back of the net only once and left as a free agent in 2020. Roque Santa Cruz. With great looks and lots of talent, Roque Santa Cruz was supposed to be the poster boy of Paraguayan football. The striker spent quite a lot of time at Bayern Munich and never really got going. However, that didn't stop Blackburn from signing him in 2007, and the striker found his feet at Ewood Park, looking every bit of a world-class striker he was meant to be. Santa Cruz scored 19 goals and provided 7 assists in his debut Premier League campaign. However, that was the only time he'd score this freely. A move to Manchester City did not work out either, and to be fair to the player, he was never given enough chances to impress. Sado Berahino. Out of nowhere, West Brom handed a debut to a young academy graduate during the 2013-2014 season. The next season, Berahino scored 20 goals and naturally became the talk of the town. Tottenham had seen enough of him and decided to push for his signing throughout the summer of 2014. After a long, protracted saga, the youngster was forced to stay put, and eventually, his form withered. The young striker never recovered from it, and the Spurs definitely dodged a bullet there. Graffiti. Wolfsburg did the unthinkable when they won the Bundesliga crown in the 2008-2009 season. That Wolfsburg side was quite a treat to watch. Led up front by a certain Edin Zico, the Germans took Europe by storm. However, it was his Brazilian teammate Graffiti who was the real star, scoring 28 goals and winning the German Footballer of the Year award. At a time when major teams from the continent were chasing his signature, Graffiti decided to join Al Ahly in the Emirates. He never returned to Europe after that, which is a shame because the striker left a top 5 league in his prime. Vincent Janssen. Sometimes, a football player only needs a single season to showcase his worth. And that's exactly what happened with Vincent Janssen while playing for AZ Alkmaar during the 2015-2016 campaign, where he bagged 27 goals. The feat earned him the Johan Cruyff Trophy as well. Tottenham, who were looking for a new striker, paid £17 million for his services in 2016, but the striker was firing blanks, to be honest. Eventually, he was shipped out to Turkey. It didn't work out there either, and he moved to Monterrey in 2019, where he struggled in front of the goal as well. Now 28, Janssen is signed for Royal Antwerp in Belgium, so there's some hope for him. Carlos Alberto. Sharing your name with the legendary Brazilian defender, who shared a World Cup trophy with the likes of Pelé, Socrates, and Garancho, means there's a certain amount of pressure on you to come good. However, the modern-day version of Carlos Alberto had a career that promised a lot and delivered very little. Jose Mourinho signed him during the winter transfer window of the memorable 2003-2004 campaign. FC Porto had found a midfielder who would set things in motion. He was regularly featured for the Portuguese Giants, not scoring a lot, but showcasing his qualities. He also scored the opening goal of the Champions League final win over AS Monaco. Sadly though, Alberto never shone enough after that and became a journeyman, traveling far and beyond to find his balance. Lucas Perez. There's a reason why good scouts don't recommend a player solely based on their performance in a single campaign. Consistency is the name of the game in football, and Arsenal definitely did not feel strongly about it in 2016 when they paid £17 million to sign Lucas Perez from Deportivo La Coruña. The Spaniard had scored 17 goals and provided 10 assists during the 2015-2016 campaign. No wonder the Gunners were so desperate for his signature. However, Perez never really managed to hold his own in the Premier League and managed just 1 goal in 2 years. The striker moved clubs a lot in the next few years. These days, he's playing at Cadiz and no longer reminiscent of a player who scored so many goals for a side that was fighting relegation all those years ago. Stephen Ireland. Yes, it's the same Stephen Ireland who turned his Range Rover into an SUV you'd normally see Barbie drive around with Ken. The Irish midfielder had a coming of age in the 2008-2009 campaign for Manchester City, where he scored 9 goals and provided a similar amount of assists. After winning the club's Player of the Year award, he was destined for greatness. Sadly, that was the only season where he played on an elite level. Michu. It's very rare for Sir Alex Ferguson to openly praise a player who was not linked with Manchester United. However, Michu's performances for Swansea during the 2012-2013 campaign were too good to be ignored. The Spaniard led the line for the Swans, scoring goals for fun. He scored 18 goals in his debut campaign in England and also helped himself to a League Cup triumph. However, his form nosedived after that, and a few years later, he was released. In 2017, the striker decided to retire from the game at the age of 31. Alfonso Alves. The Brazilian rose to prominence during his time in Sweden and then became a star in the Netherlands. He joined Heerenveen in 2006 and scored 34 games for them in his debut campaign, something the likes of Romario and Ronaldo had done all those years ago. In January 2008, he signed for Middlesbrough. However, Alves was nothing more than a major flop and did nothing to prevent his team from getting relegated. Understandably, he never played in a major European league after that. Asuma Gyan. Every kid wants to do well in the World Cup and then sign for a big team. Well, Asuma Gyan was a real star for Ghana in the 2010 World Cup and decided to join Sunderland. He did pretty well for the Black Cats, scoring 10 times and providing 4 assists. However, he took a very bizarre decision by leaving Europe altogether and signing for the UAE Giants Al Ain. These days, you might see him playing for his native Ghana in Legion cities, to each their own perhaps. Midu, a temperamental striker during his time in Europe. The Egyptian was no doubt full of quality. Spurs decided to snap him up. His first season was blighted by injuries, but in his second season, Midu was in the form of his life, scoring 11 goals and leading the line alongside Robbie Keane and Jermaine Defoe. His loan deal was made permanent, but his form was actually very temporary. Midu would score just once after that before joining Middlesbrough. Robinho. In the early days of the Sheiks, Manchester City did a lot of signings that did not work. In 2008, they signed Robinho from Real Madrid for £32 million, and the Brazilian looked to be worth every penny. He scored 14 goals in his first season in the Premier League. However, the striker struggled in front of the goal in the second season before joining Santos on the loan. He was eventually sold to AC Milan, but that move also did not work out, as Robinho failed to realize his true potential.